Okay, and we've got one more presentation in this frame. So please welcome Praveen Kumar Purushothaman. Praveen is Vice President of Software Engineering at Cloudroit, and he is going to take us through the Jamstack and a workshop on a quick React plus Node API demo. So I'm wondering if this is going to be a hands-on demo. I'm very excited for it. So Praveen, welcome. If you're
Hi
going to say
everyone.
something.
Yeah,
Fabulous.
sure.
I can hear
Oh,
you clearly.
is it fine, right? Like my
It's
don't share now, please. Okay, so cool. So hi everyone. My name is Praveen. I'm originally from Chennai, India, and currently a full stack JavaScript specialist. Fun part is I was about to say that this is going to be a live hands-on session, but unfortunately I did not get the slot for workshop. So we are going to do with like a slide presentation and stuff like that. I know I'm not a complete fan of slides, but I did not get a choice. So we'll go with a small demo that actually I made yesterday and today, and I would like to be kind of like interactive as well. So let's try to keep it interactive. So first thing this is the agenda for today, and what I'm planning to do is. First, give a small introduction about Jamstack, why it is good, why it is bad, or something like that. And the next thing will be like directly let's get into a demo. I made a couple of things, could be bad, could be good, but let's go on. So without further delay, let me see if I can switch on the slides. Yes, okay. So I guess I don't know, I can't see what is happening on the real side. I hope the slides are visible right now. Yes, no, okay. So the first thing is like, yes, this is going to be a Jamstack introduction workshop, which has got React and Node API by me. And technically, since we are getting more surprises, because this is not going to be a workshop, now it's a talk. Now it is not going to be Node, but it's going to be a PHP API. Yes, PHP is still alive and it is very much working, because a lot of companies and a lot of places they use lamp stack here, and it is easy to set up a lamp stack rather than a MERN stack. So without further delay, what exactly is, let's leave the lamp and MERN stack. So what exactly is Jamstack? So the first thing is, let's look into all the good okay, so Jamstack actually changes, or maybe I should say in a different word, it revolutionizes how the business deliver web content. So we'll first look into the features of the Jamstack. So if you see what happened for the past couple of years, we could say there are a lot of traditional CMSs. Any examples would be like WordPress, Joomla, Drupal, and there are like more and more. WordPress being the most huge thing. They are completely like revolutionizing the whole thing. And why WordPress first? Because it is easy to use. You just need to unzip a file, and then it's gonna be, yes, you're set up with everything. And a lot of people, they are completely how should I say, depending on the visual builder, etc. But if you consider what WordPress is looking like, it has got a lot of moving parts behind, and it's completely a complex process, right? So WordPress is like it has a huge backend. It is powered by PHP, and the way it is written in the object-oriented PHP, it is extremely slow. And there are like not only that, we need a complete big web server and a lot of backend code. The database that is connected to WordPress might be slow. The connection could be slow. And coming to WordPress, again, WordPress or any other backend application, there are like a lot of compilation needs to be done, caching needs to be done. And talking about WordPress, well, um, comes with the cost as well, cost and money. Then there are also security concerns that are there. So we can hear a lot of people saying that my WordPress website has been hacked and other things, right? So not only that, there are like so many there are so many issues that are coming up with traditional applications that has got so heavy architecture, super heavy architecture, etc. But how about, let's do this way. Let me introduce something called as Jamstack. It's going to make the world completely better. And what exactly is Jamstack? Jamstack stands for JavaScript API and Markup. So in this case, what happens is, you have an API that is set in one particular server, and it is completely like a it takes care of its own area of things, and then only a set of developers work on it, which completely focuses on the API building. And we have markup, which is written obviously in HTML and CSS, and then we have got the JavaScript part, which actually combines both of them. JavaScript can be either jQuery library, or you can have any SPA, single page applications like React or Vue.js or Angular, and you can directly connect it, talk to it with API. So how are these things connected and delivered? They're all through CDNs, because JavaScript and the markup thing, it is completely static, and you don't even require any kind of backend architecture for this except for the APIs. So any web applications that are currently being used, they what they do is like directly fetch the application, fetch the API, and then display the information. All the content. So technically, the content and the data. Sorry, content is data, right? So the based on the view and the content are decoupled in this case, and the view is given to you by the content delivery network. Everything is loaded onto your browser or the client side, and then uh, everything that is going through the business logic or the backend side of things, it is connected to the API, correct? So that's exactly what is happening. So users will fetch the contents or the like from the physically closest server. For example, you use something like how should I say this? Load balancer. And load balancers are very useful in this case, because if there is multiple API servers, they can be load balanced across geological split, and then that way, if I am accessing the API from London, it's going to take the London server and it is going to serve it. While if you're accessing from India, you could get a server from Bangalore or Mumbai or Chennai or Delhi, whichever is closest to you. So that's how the whole thing works. And we also have noted that the businesses that migrated to Jamstack environment report much better performance. It also helps you in creating better SEO and other things as well. But before that, there are some gotchas as well. So setting up Jamstack is not that easy, like comparatively to how WordPress sets up. So there is also a complete set of how should I say, you need to facilitate the API server. You need to build a separate team that works on the client side architecture. So these are small gotchas. So you don't have a beautiful fancy installation wizards in Jamstack, whereas you have to do everything manually, like plugging the connections. So without further delay, let's go for the demo. So how many of you are ready for the demo? I'm just going to close the slides, and that's about my slides. So I'm just looking at if there is any kind of like do we have any other. Oh, cool. Nice. Okay. So I want it to be interactive as well. So since I don't have the freedom of like completely presenting everything, what I did is I did almost everything yesterday in my free time. So I've got this particular markdown which actually shows you everything. So what all things that I started with. So it's a PHP based server, as I said you. So what I started with is let me make this as a full screen. And what does tempting fate mean? All right, so the first thing what I did is I started with a basic HTML, like a basic PHP index file, and it just has got this hello API days, which is an echo, and all we see here is hello API days in the browser. And the next thing which I tried is like right now I just open the main screen and it works fine. But when I tried to use something like let's say, even I'm not able to see this here. All right, it is some ID here. So what I did is like I put, yeah, okay, fine, it's some ID is here. So so I put a some ID here and it says not found. So what is the problem here we are facing? So we need to use some kind of dynamic routes. So it is right now it is trying to look at all the physical files that are available in the server, and then it is just showing it right now. So what we want to do is we want to handle all the requests sent to the index file or something like that. So I made something called as a Htaccess file, and this Htaccess file is the main thing which let me try to make this a bit bigger. Good. Okay. So if I try to use a rewrite engine in PHP, what it does is it is going to completely send all the requests to the index.php. So now if I put some ID, I would be able to get hello Apidays, the index PHP file, which has just an echo statement that shows it here. So the next thing what I want to do is I want to see what exactly the path comes. So if I open the home page, I would see the path is undefined, and if I use the sum ID, so slash sum ID slash whatever I put, I'm able to get the path variable inside my page. So let's start with some more API stuff. So if I put like id slash comments, I would be able to see that the path contains id slash comments in it. So I'm going to fix the home right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this path from the get path, and then I'm going to change it to if the path is nothing literally, or it is not set. So I first thing I'm going to check is like if the path is empty, I'm going to echo home, and or else if I'm going to echo the path variable itself. Unfortunately for me, path is not defined. So but in the other cases, for example, if I put some kind of a path, I'm able to get id slash comments. So let's fix it. So the fix is going to be I'm going to check if this particular get of path is set. This is somehow we can check if there is a if the path is set, or if this path is undefined, or like it is not set, etc. So is set is one of the easy way to like get it. So I used is set, and then I'm also checking if the path is empty. So in case if the path has got nothing in it, I'm going to use the index variable, or I will be using the content of the path. So now I could get that in the home. I'm able to get that this is home page or this is home. The next thing is if I use the path with some ID and comments, I'm able to get this as well. So there is this better programming which we need to do in sometimes, like for example, in PHP there is something called as output buffering. So I'm starting the output buffering here, which actually helps me in a lot of different ways. For example, when you are sending, this is one of the common mistakes people do in while doing PHP work, or even Node.js APIs, or even Java. Java J2E servlets, etc. So you would be seeing like headers already sent error, right? So for making sure that headers already sent doesn't come, we generally use obstart, and then I'm going to make all the output as a JSON. So obviously we are going to work with API, a backend API, and then to be a better way, like the better programming, instead of using repeated if statements, I'm going to use a switch case. So I'm going to start with a switch if the case is index. If not, I'm going to show everything as error 404. So this is what I'm going to do. So if I open the home page, it clearly shows that there is a 200 page. So the HTTP requests, the status codes make a huge they play a huge role in APIs, because most of the clients they use the status codes to determine whether the status is perfect or we need to do something else. So when you are getting some kind of a data, it is usually 200. HTTP 200 means it is successful. And then if you are working with other pages, if there is a page that is not available, you would be getting 404 as the error, and there you go. So in case of this one, so far we have created the route for one home page, and the other pages are getting the correct error messages. So let's go ahead and start with an empty data file. I'm going to use something like a data.json, and I'm going to populate with just two things. So basically I'm trying to create a blog post kind of a thing. So the preview looks like this. So if I open the page here, oh wait, so where is the code for this one? Actually, I wrote a code for this. Technically what it does is it's going to echo the JSON file which is ingested by this data. It's let me see if I have got the code here. So first thing what I do is I'm going to take the data. So I'm going to decode the JSON file, which is taken from file get contents. It is going to read the file for from data.json, and then it is going to convert it into a JSON text, it's going to be a string JSON at the moment, and we are going to use JSON decode. Is almost similar to JavaScript's JSON.parse, and it is going to convert it into an array object, we can call it in PHP, because both all the arrays are associative arrays in PHP. So we are going to have it as a data, as the array native array. And then the first thing that I'm going to do is, in the index, I'm going to show whatever is there in the content of the data file. I'm going to show it here. So at this point of time, I could see that after adding a couple of blog posts, like for example 3 to 4 blog posts, and notice this timestamp, it is something related to JavaScript. So JavaScript's epoch looks like this. It is the number of milliseconds from January 1, 1970. That is the epoch time. And today's time, let's say this one was yesterday, right? So when I was working on this, this time is like yesterday at 4:30 p.m. UK time, and the value of the time is like 16521948000, which is actually huge. And coming back to our the output of the code, if I try to run the main page, I'm actually getting all these things in a perfect way, because it's a data JSON data array. And then I need to also look at the times. Okay, I just have 5 more minutes to present, and I need to go for the questions, I believe. Okay, so quickly going through, I made another route for the timing. So I'm just giving the JavaScript equivalent of time. So like I said yesterday, I just created this time, and then when I used new date and inputted this particular number, it was showing it as Wednesday, May 11, 2022, which is yesterday or today. I guess it's today, right? Yeah, whatever. Today at 6:04 a.m. and it is the British summer time. In India, it would have been 10:24 a.m. Okay, so the preview is like, obviously it is going to give you a string, and then it looks like this. Now I need to actually change it into a dynamic route. So I'm going to change the switch case into true. So if the path is index or time, it's going to show me the same thing. So it is going to be the same output. But in case if the path is a number, so there could be a number given, right? So for example, if we are working with any kind of like a API that provides you the data with different blog posts, you will be putting like post/1 or something like that. So that is exactly what I'm doing. So here I would be able to get the number here, and then it is also giving me a 200. Okay, so now we will start working on what number. And what about the comments? So if I try to open /comments, what I'm doing here is, since the data, the roots are dynamic, and we are going to handle how the roots are being called, I'm just first checking if the path is numeric, then it's a number, and then I'm handling it here. And also I'm going to split the path into multiple array values using the slash, which is going to be the path separator. It's going to show me the first one would be the ID of the post, and second one would be the action. So at this point, for the action, what I'm doing is, if the action is comments, I'm going to use the different comments. And if not, if anything else is being added, I'm going to show an error 404. And there are also edge cases when I put a slash, a trailing slash, that's going to mess up things. So I'm also making sure that I'm checking the paths of 0, which doesn't have a trailing slash, and I'm going to go with the comments as well. So this works perfectly fine, even if I put a small trailing slash here. And what about 404 and handling all the errors? So in case if there is a particular data that is, the index is not there, array index out of bounds kind of an thing, I'm going to give a response code of 404 and give a not found as the message. And the preview is coming this way. This is for the first ever blog post, and if you see this, it is 200. And if I put something like 10 or some other number which is not existing, you can clearly see that it is 404. And also for the actions, I can do the same thing. So this is going to be a switch case inside another switch case. So it's going to be multiple switch case, and I'm going to check the second option, which is the action, second option in the path. So for example, if I'm putting like /1/ comments or /1/edit, so that would be the second part, and here it is the comments. And for the comments, what I'm doing is, I'm just replying with all the comments. So at this point of time, it shows unknown action if I use something like edit. But if I kind of like, whoops, sorry about this. So I'm actually trying to handle the non-existent values as well, because if I'm using /10 slash comments, it directly gets into the actions part. So I need to also handle that. So what I'm doing is, remember we added this is set thing for the JSON variable, right? Like for one single entry. So I'm using the same concept here for the actions as well. And then inside that, I'm going to put the switch. In case if this particular data is not found, I'm going to give a 404 error. So that way it is going to show me not found, and there is a 404 error. So then now I need to add a new post. This is the first time we are going to make the changes in the data. So what I'm doing here is, I'm checking if this particular path is new, and then it is going to go for this one. So that is where we will be writing our content. So one more thing is, whenever you're creating a new record, it has to be a post data. And here I have used echo request accepted only if the request method is post. If not, I'm going to give a 404 error. So if you're trying to put a get request to one particular path, even though that path exists and it here's only for the technically I should have used 400, but here I have used 404, which means again it's a client error. You're not supposed, you're trying to access something that is not there. So there is no get implemented. Technically I could have put 401 method not accepted. Here you go, 404. And then so this is the get request which I created, because basically when you are trying to work with browsers and you put the URL on the screen and then press enter, it is going to hit a get request, while you can use a JavaScript fetch here, and I use a method post, and that gives me a request accepted. At the same time, when I'm working with the JavaScript part, I also need to make sure that both the title and description has to be accepted. So what I'm doing here is, I'm going to check the same kind of is set, which is going to help us also not empty. So I'm going to check if the post title and the post body is set as well as it is not empty. Then we are going to do request accepted. Else we are going to do both title and body are mandatory. I'm not looking at the response value here. I'll be putting giving the status codes later. So right now I just use the same fetch yesterday, like what we did before. Fetch with the method post without giving a body. It says both title and body are mandatory. And then if I try to use okay, what did I do here? Yeah, so what I did here is, again, I made the error response here. So I made 500 error. I don't know why I used 500 here. It's supposed to be internal server error. But yeah, so it shows an error which says both title and body are mandatory. First time it was showing HTTP status as 200, and then it was showing both title and body are mandatory. But now it shows the correct error code. The next thing is about putting the contents to the data. So once we have checked that this particular post title and post body is present, I'm going to push to the array. So this is similar to JavaScript array.push, and I'm pushing an array with title, body. The timestamp is going to be the current time multiplied by 1000. I guess there is a better way of doing this, because it will not consider the milliseconds, and in this case I have to add the milliseconds manually. Right now I have just put into 1000, which is actually wrong. And then comments is an empty array. So now what I'm doing is, I'm going to use this updated data and encoding it into a JSON, and then putting it, actually replacing the JSON file, which is the data.json. And if everything works fine, I'm going to use a HTTP response code of 201. 201 is the code for created, and then I'm echoing out that a new post is added. So if you do the same thing perfectly correctly, it's going to give you 201 created. And when you try to run the get request on this root, you would be able to see that the particular new thing is created as well. By the way, this is available on the online as well. I'm going to try finding out if I could share the URL. So
hey,
here
Praveen,
I guess we are running out of time, right?
We unfortunately have run out of time,
All
but
right.
I
I'm
think the
okay to take.
URL is great. Yeah.
Yeah, I have so far I have done this and the update function. Then we have got the backend. So I was about to show the React side of things, which actually works with PHP and React. They are like Coca-Cola and Mentos, to be honest. But
There's
I made
explosions whenever PHP is
exactly.
around.
We can stop the screen sharing, by the way. Yeah.
Okay.
So but the fun part is I made it in such a way that it is possible now to use PHP along with Axios or Fetch, and then PHP will be able to read the data from the recent versions of React and other things. So I just
Ah,
wanted to make sure to show that, but unfortunately, yes, next time for sure. And I'm open to
there you go.
questions if they have any questions.
Yeah, so I'd suggest maybe people pop their questions in the chat because we, on the other stage, I invite everyone to join the other stage shortly for the closing remarks for day one. Praveen, thank you so very much. I appreciate that the demo you wanted to do kind of got distracted, but your Htaccess file gave me shivers from past lives.
So
So
yeah, that
thank you
was
for that.
something like
Uh,
we generally have the
yeah,
problem, right? Like a lot of times
yeah.
it doesn't work.
Mate, sorry, I'm gonna have to. Don't mean to interrupt, but I do need to get people to over to stage one. So again, thank you so much. If you want, you can pop your details in the chat.
I've
I'm
done
sure
it.
people would love to. Yeah, awesome. I'm sure people would love to meet you and talk to you further. But for everyone